firing head coach Michael Malone and general manager Calvin Booth just days before the end of the regular season, with the team sitting in a four-way tie. Jumbled Western Conference. Now, the Nuggets, they have struggled over the last month, going 6-10 overall. They now find themselves in the middle of a tight race in the West. What would you say, Perk? Tighter than a fresh pair of apple-bottom jeans?
Yeah.
They've had issues allowing extra opportunities to their opponents. They rank bottom 6 in turnover percentage and second chance points per game allowed during this span. So let's welcome in our senior NBA insider, Shams Charania. Shams, what more can you tell us about why the Nuggets ownership group decided to fire head coach Michael Malone right now, just before the playoffs?
Malika, Nuggets ownership made this decision evaluating the second half of this season, a sub-500 second half, and that includes 4 consecutive losses that they're on right now. But even broader than that, a deepening Cold War between their head coach and general manager. And recently, the Kroenkes had decided that they were going to dismiss both Michael Malone and Calvin Booth at the end of the season, but they felt this team needed a jolt to end the season. Going into the playoffs, they want to inject this team with some life and just getting this over with now instead of waiting. And players, people internally not knowing where to go because of the divide that existed between two very important parts of any organization, as our Bob Myers knows. And so the biggest thing, though, is why Michael Malone, the winningest coach in Denver Nuggets history, a championship coach. My understanding is the Kroenkes did not want to pick between the two sides, and they decided to do a full culture reset.
Yeah, and so out they go. They're bringing in new sort of blood into this equation. That's the ownership perspective. But then there's Nikola Jokic. How did he find out about this? How does the organization think he's going to respond to this firing? Because I imagine that's not something you make with him being on the rocks.
Yeah, my understanding is as soon as the decisions were made to make these firings, Josh Kroenke called Nikola Jokic, informed him of the decisions. And Nikola Jokic, I'm told, understood this franchise, what was going on right now. It was in a bad place, and he understood the owner or the organization and ownership's move. But listen, no one has seen this level of frustration, irritation, some that we've seen publicly on the bench, some that he said in his comments, just not knowing where this team was going to find answers. It was alarming for the Nuggets because we haven't seen this externally out of Nikola Jokic or even internally. And so Josh Kroenke said this week they want the team to find the joy back, but even bigger than that, they want Nikola Jokic's joy back, and they hope David Adelman, as interim head coach, can help provide that. Yeah,
Shams, when I think back to that press conference that Nikola Jokic gave after a game when he said that there is no switch that we can turn for the playoffs, that is about as demonstrative as you see Nikola Jokic when he is talking about his organization. Thank you so very much for that context. I think listening to all that, gentlemen, here's what we know, right? Nikola Jokic is one of, if not the best player in the world, right? I think we can all agree on that. He's having one of, if not the best year of his career. I think we could also agree on all that. And then with 3 games to go, they fire their coach and GM. So what do you make of what's going on in Denver, Bob? Do we need to get out the windy? What is going on in Denver?
I don't have that. I'm not.
It's okay, Bob.
You have to get. I don't have that.
It's very special.
Okay. You want to go? Go ahead.
I think they really wanted to fire Michael Malone a while ago, and the way this season was going. And the thing about it is that Josh Kroenke and the Kroenkes, they don't fire coaches often. They don't fire coaches on their other teams. They hadn't fired a coach in over a decade here. And I think they thought about firing him midway through the season. I know what happened midway through the season with Calvin Booth. They broke off contract extension discussions. So they made a decision quite some time ago. They were not going to probably keep him. They elected not to fire Michael Malone, and then they went on an 8-game win streak mid-season. And then they got to the end, and the same problems, issues early in the season were still there. And I suspect Josh Kroenke was like, I should have fired him then. I'm not going to let them maybe get hot here at the end.
Winning masks everything.
And mask it again. So it's unconventional, but it's unconventional for the Nuggets to make a move like this.
Well, I'm going to say a couple things. Coaches have to win, right? And if you're not winning, you have to get along. You have to have a reason for ownership to keep you if you're not producing at a high level on the winning chart. So I think what happened here was when you combine the fact the team wasn't performing as ownership thought it should, and you got a GM and a coach, and by the way, those guys not getting along, because I did do that job, that relationship is built to fail. You have to work so hard to maintain a good camaraderie. Here's why. Coaches are day traders, and I don't say that condescendingly. They have to be day traders. They have to win games. GMs are value traders. They have to look further ahead. Sometimes those two things do not align. And how do you delicately have a conversation with your coach? And it's been written, I think it's true, Calvin wanted to play certain guys. Michael Malone wanted to play other guys. That happens all the time in the NBA. But here's the difference. How you have that conversation will allow you to preserve the relationship. If it's, hey, listen, I need you to play, Peyton Watson a lot more than you're playing him. So you better start doing that. No coach likes that. Instead of, hey, listen, I see what you're doing. I know you're using Westbrook. Can we get a little bit more?
But isn't all of this is all with Jamal Murray having missed the last 5 games.
And that's where you have to be strong enough, Malika, to overcome. Every team has major injuries, usually. So can you overcome that?
Look, Michael Malone is gone. Calvin Booth is gone. What's next? Right? Every single person now is auditioning except for Nikola Jokic. Now it comes down to how are you going to build around this generational talent to put them in position to go out there and compete for a title, right? We watched the Cavs make moves. We watched the Celtics make moves. We watched the Bucks put the pieces around Giannis. Hell, Bob, we watched you do it with Steph and the Golden State Warriors. When y'all was 73-9, Cavs came back. You didn't sit back and say, oh, let's run it back another year. No, you went into the offseason aggressive and said, we got to max this out. You went and got Kevin Durant. That's what you have to do. Do you realize that Jokic in his career haven't played with another all-star? Never. Never. Like, Russ don't count at this point. He's past those stages, right? Past his prime. But, again, when are you going to help him out? And I think I'm looking at a guy like Jamal Murray, and if I'm the Denver Nuggets, I'm actually trying to move away from him.
Well, by the way, that's how Michael Malone felt. You're describing
a 4-year, $208 million.
Sports betting analyst Joe Fortenbaugh with us now. Perk, what are you most interested in seeing with Luka's return to Dallas tonight?
Well, Kev, once they get finished with the video tribute and the standing ovation and all the hugs and kisses, I'm looking forward to what's going to happen between the lines, right? We heard LeBron James say that, we got Luka back coming into this game. They're going to stand 10 toes down, and Luka's going to come out there and try to put on the show, or maybe he will put on the show. I'm looking on the other side, too, but I'm looking at Anthony Marshawn Davis Jr. to come in and put on the show his damn self, right? I mean, we got to be watching for him, and I believe that the Dallas Mavericks, the team is going to have his back. Jason Kidd is going to have his team well prepared to play, and I expect a brawl for it all.
Backstory here, this is AD's first time facing his former team, including LeBron and the Lakers. Joe, what are your best plays here for this game tonight?
Perk makes some great points, and I hate to go against the big fella. I do like the Lakers here, minus the 4.5. Couple reasons. Second half of a back-to-back for LA, third game in 4 nights. That's factored into the line, the rest angle. We haven't seen the Mavericks since Saturday, so there's a big advantage there. But I think it's been overcompensated for. When these two met in LA a couple months ago, Lakers were laying 8.5 in that game. Now you might say, yeah, but they didn't have Anthony Davis. Correct. But they did have Kyrie Irving. I think those two offset to an extent, and we find a little bit of value with the Lakers. On top of that, LeBron James rebound prop is 7.5. I'd go under. Rebounding is an effort stat. This isn't to say that LeBron's not going to have effort tonight. It's where he's going to choose to deploy that effort. In the first 12 games with Luka Doncic, LeBron went over this mark 9 times. Then he got hurt in the Boston game. He came back. Since then, he's gone over this mark twice in 10 games. He's not crashing the glass because he's trying to preserve the body to get ready for the playoffs.
He's averaging 22 points in those 10 games since his return. Perk, how do you feel about Joe's picks?
I don't feel nothing of Joe's pick. And listen, Joe is my guy, but the minus 4.5 for the Lakers, he's tripping. I got the Mavs actually winning this game tonight. I got Anthony Davis standing on business, putting on the show. And when you think about the others, you're looking at a Klay Thompson, you're looking at a Daniel Gafford, Derek Lively, fresh legs. Those guys are going to go out there and compete. And once again, Anthony Davis is the one I'm watching. Here's why. Anthony Davis could have shut it down for the remainder of the season. A lot of